Hey, I'm Shaye Wanner, and you are listening to the Casual Cattle Conversations podcast. Whether you are a seasoned rancher or just curious about the cattle world, this podcast dives into the stories, science, and strategies shaping the future of ranching. Let's get started and keep your herd ahead of the herd. Folks, today we are visiting with Jon and Patty Tibelius about their journey marketing open heifers. It's a conversation that covers multiple methods of sale, building trust, genomic testing, and balancing maternal and terminal traits, just to name a few things. With that, let's visit with Jon and Patty, because you're sure to enjoy this one. Well, Jon and Patty, it is fun to have you on the show today. It's always enjoyable to have fellow North Dakota producers on the show, and especially when you've known them for, especially when I've known you guys for a long time. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us, Shaye. It's an honor.
Thank you graciously for having us. It's always a fun new adventure.
Well, to start off, maybe not a fun question, but since, Jon, you called it a fun new adventure, I'm going to ask you, why do you bet on the beef industry?
There are so many countless reasons, and of course, only a couple come to mind at the present time. It is lifelong ingrained in me to be in the beef industry, being raised in it, etc. But beyond that, pick up your phone and Google the benefits of beef and the medical breakthroughs that are being done with it, and what our industry is doing, and how we've grown on the amount of prime animals, how much less resources we're using to create the same amount of beef than, say, 1980. It is absolutely astonishing how good we as an industry are doing to conform and just do a better job. And I'm all about doing that better job, helping anyone do that better job, and having great conversations about that.
Absolutely. I think those are all great reasons to believe in the beef industry and be a part of it. You guys do a lot on your operation, but today we're going to focus kind of on the heifer side of it and how you market open heifers, etc., and your story there. But before we dive into that, Patty, would you mind describing your operations so as we go through today's conversation, people kind of get an idea of where you're coming from and where you're located?
Well, we're located in central North Dakota, about 110 miles northeast of Bismarck. We run about 280 cow-calf pairs, keep our own replacement heifers. We do some farming, not a lot, but we do raise grains and corn for silage. Just feed a few beeves, keeps us busy.
And then as far as marketing goes, you sell some of those steers online, correct?
Yes, we sell our first load of steers in August at the Superior Bighorn sale. And then we sell our heifers through Wasem Red Angus, their production sale in February. And then we keep our own replacement heifers. And then we usually market, just depends on how many heifer calves we have. This year we were really short on heifer calves. So we're not going to have as many to market because we cut them really tough. Our replacement heifers are equal to the heifers we sell through Wasem. And probably some of them are better. It's just, you have to pick and choose, and that's how we do it.
So with marketing your open heifers, have you always sold through Wasems or at their bull sale?
No. We've sold with Wasems. This will be the 4th year. And we had 3 years where we went through the Superior Country page. We've had heifers go to Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas through that. And then prior to that, we just did the sale barn. But we didn't feel prior to that probably that we had a group of quality replacement heifers to offer to anybody. Tried to get even and more uniform, color-wise, size-wise.
And it's also in the DNA.
Right.
Many years of DNA testing helps me to know that the product that we sell you is going to have the best chance of being a good mother cow.
Now, I'm familiar with your relationship with Wasems, but would you mind explaining that to the listeners so when they hear, we're selling our heifers at this bull sale, they know kind of your relationship with the other family?
We've been buying bulls from Wasems, I believe it's 10 years. And they just decided that they wanted to offer their customers an option to market their heifer calves better than taking them to the sale barn. They've come to our place many, many times and looked through our heifers. And they just asked if we'd be interested. In the first 2 years, it was just us. And now they are up. I think they offer it to 5 of their bulk buyers. And that's where we're at with that, I guess. I grew up in Killdeer. And Chris Wasem, he grew up in Halliday. He is about 10 years younger than I am, but I've known the Wasem family for ages. And then Jolynn moved to Halliday, and we became friends before I moved to Bowden. And we've just carried on that friendship, which we really treasure, but they put a lot of work into selling us bulls that help us make replacement quality heifers too.
Well, awesome. Now, you've tried a few different things with marketing your open heifers. You talked about sale barn, like a lot of producers will take their heifers that they just decide not to keep. You talked about the online option, and specifically now we're kind of talking about marketing your heifers through your bulls, through your seed stock supplier. What benefits have you seen in the last few years since you've started marketing your heifers at Wasem sale as they are your seed stock supplier?
Some of those heifers stay inside the state, knowing that they, went to a local ranch, or say they went to Oaks. There is a gentleman up in the Minot area that bought them and reported back to us one year that they were 100% bred up. And that was the only group that happened to. When you can connect with these people and get feedback from them, and I've mentioned a person in Oaks, and I call him from time to time just to say, hey, how are they doing? And he's always like, man, am I glad I did that. Maybe pick the day when the day ain't going quite right, call somebody like that, and you'll get a smile out of it anyway, a little bit uplifting, so to speak. And that's what I'm enjoying about it, absolutely the most, no doubt.
Do you feel like buyers feel an increased sense of trust because you are more local? Do you think that makes a difference when it's more of an in-state opportunity?
I want that to be how they feel. I want them to know that these aren't just great sale barn heifers that, sure, they all look cute, but these ones have been looked at on the inside as well. And like I said, they're going to be really good mother cows for somebody. And I take some satisfaction in that. And I wouldn't do it any other way. Just very comfortable way of doing it. And thank you to Chris and Jolynn Wasem for inviting us to their sale. So it's just been a great experience. With that, I have to add there are 2 great guys in our neighborhood that allow us to be at the sale, because we do calve in February, and it's nice to get away.
And the cows are in good hands while you are away.
Absolutely. Now, Jon, you brought up earlier the genomic testing piece of it, because you're testing these heifers, and that's just an added layer of knowing that they're going to be good mothers on top of just your own herd reputation. Do you provide that information in the sale catalog? Do you make that available, or do you kind of keep that to yourselves? I'm just curious if you use that to leverage this opportunity for yourselves by when you're selling your open heifers.
In the past, we have not shared that. If the buyer would like to have that conversation, we are available at any time. Found out earlier today that we're leading on average very well in heifer pregnancy and stability, and those are 2 great, super important parts of that. And on the other end of things, on the Gridmaster side, we're doing really, really well in that one. of course, too. So by taking a set of females that already has that and adding that to your herd, you should make your buyers happier down the road as well.
Now, when you think about how this journey of marketing your open heifers has progressed per se, what are some of the challenges that you've overcome with each scenario of how you've marketed? If you want to talk about the sale barn aspect, selling online, or even selling through your seed stock provider, I'm just curious what some of the different challenges have been with each avenue.
I think the biggest challenge to begin with, we had such a mixed herd. We had blacks and reds and some red white face and some buckskin Charolais cross. And the biggest problem, the biggest challenge was you take them to the sale barn and maybe you had 90 head of heifers, and those heifers were getting split into 5 groups maybe. And it was very challenging to see. I guess it was disappointing to see your hard year's work just get split up and knocked down, and I don't know how else to say that. It was disappointing. And then we always used Red Bulls. We were just trying to make the outcross cows have red calves. But as the years went on, and we got to the point of where we were being able to call some of those cows that didn't fit and purchase some cows from some registered breeders that fit the herd better. And we were DNA testing. We were starting to get results back on that. We were getting more of a uniform group. That's when we went through the Superior page for those few years. But I would say the biggest challenge was trying to get an even group of cattle to market.
Are you looking for new ways to beef up your favorite beef meals? Let me introduce you to my favorite seasoning, Pluck. I pluck my steaks, I pluck my burgers, I pluck my eggs, I pluck just about everything I cook because this variety of seasonings not only complements animal protein, but also allows me to incorporate organ meats into my diet without tasting them. You can try it for yourself at eatpluck.com and use the code Shaye Wanner for a 15% discount. That code is spelled ShayeWanner. And again, that website is eatpluck.com. And so you touched on how the DNA testing was part of that. What else did you do to kind of increase uniformity within your herd?
Tried to read our EPDs on our bulls better, find bulls that would downsize those bigger cows, and yet find bulls that would increase the size, the carcass on the smaller cows. I'm done. What do you think?
Just what you're saying, everything that we can possibly do to balance and even and move forward. And of course, when we first started, we would have just, so many calves a day for 2 months.
Yeah.
And, like emphasize the February calving, it's quite busy, and now we do 84% in 21 days. Believe it or not, it's possible. You can do that with bull breds, and it's like a very intensely managed situation. I just love it.
It's intense.
So you said 84% in those first couple days.
No, 21.
21 days.
In 21 days, okay. You are doing a sync AI, you're just natural service?
All natural service on our herd.
All natural service, no sync with that?
No.
Okay. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So if there are other ranchers out there who aren't happy with how they're currently marketing their open heifers, what are some questions you think they should ask themselves to kind of determine what other avenues might be worth trying?
My first thought would be get a good nutritionist. Have some feedback on what are you putting into those cows producing those calves? Are you giving them all the nutrients, all the health that those calves need to grow up and be a good mama cow? Are their longevity, are you giving them the best chance ever to keep them in the herd for 15 years? If you feel that you are, and I guess the next step, I'd say talk to a rep. Maybe you need to go out. I'm not saying get away from the sale barn, but we know of people down in the southern part of the United States that there's 5 small ranches, and they do the same vaccination program. They buy their bulls from the same place, and they sell all their calves together, which then gives you 5 times the amount of calves to combine and take to a sale barn. And maybe that's something you need to look at. You're selling the same type of cattle, get the benefit of that pot load, or it just, I think there's a lot of options out there. We've been lucky to get involved with Superior, I guess. We have a wonderful rep that just, I don't know why he thought he needed to become our son and take us under his wing and say, follow me, but he's just been awesome. And go to meetings. I can't stress that enough. Go to meetings, go to conventions, just reach out to other producers that might not see it your way and you might not agree with, but they might just put that little idea in your head of something you can change in your own heart.
Jon, do you have anything to add?
Every day, strive to build trust with people. It takes time. Dealing with sale barns in the background and lifelong experiences with that, there's not a lot of trust going on in there. Even though you're reading vaccination cards and different things like that, if a buyer's looking down at your cattle, he can tell if you have a nutritionist. He can tell the shine on the hair coat if the mineral program is there and if it's adequate. And one thing that I really can't stress enough, if you've never done DNA sampling, maybe now is the time to actually find that benchmark on your heifers and realize, oh, I should buy a bull that works better over here, one that works better over here, and you may have better understand how sales have gone in the past and why somebody didn't come back to bid on them.
The genomic testing piece of it is so interesting, and I know if people dig far enough back on my website, I actually have a blog with Patty about that from a few years ago, and since then Philip and I have started doing it too, and it's an eye-opener for where your heifers are truly at and what type of bulls you actually need to move forward.
Yeah, to better yourself. You might think that your cows, everybody thinks their cows are the best, or they hope they are, but maybe you need to find that bull that just increases your milk just a couple of points, or your heifer pregnancy, or your steak. We all want a cow that'll live to be 20 and produce a 900-pound calf in the fall, but that's not reality, But we have had a lot of heartbreaks doing the genomic testing. A lot of eye-openers where those good old girls really needed to go down the road. They looked good on the outside and they performed, but the inside wasn't what you were striving for.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that a few years ago, and the first couple years, we've done it 2 years now, and there have been some really tough decisions on that route.
Yeah. And your dad actually is the one, Shaye, that he sat down with us in Sheridan and he said, you have to do it, years and years ago. And okay, so we did it. In the first year, we're like, there is no way that heifer isn't going to stick around. Her mom is 11 years old. And, just what you think, don't believe in what you see. And within 2 years, when we look back, they didn't stick around. Their state wasn't good.
Yeah. Well, now correct me if I'm wrong, but this year you two are trying something a little different and you're going to be marketing bred heifers too. Is that correct?
Yes.
What spurred that change?
So what spurred that change? Now we're going to go all the way back to we market heifers through Wasem Red Angus. So when we do that, the goofiest things happen when you feed cattle. Somebody's limping one day, something else happens, and maybe one rolls in the feed bunk. These are just life things that happen. So we always have at least 5 extra heifers on hand to make sure whoever buys them can sort through and get what they want if they take them all. Those heifers then go right back into our herd. We don't sell them. And this year, of all years with good markets, we kept 55 head. We don't need to keep that many head. So because that group was going to grass and grass was abundant, it's like, hey, Patty, why don't we just leave the bull out there longer? Get them bred up, and maybe we have a nice group to sell. And so we're looking at selling 8 head, 4 for March and 4 for April, and just see what happens.
So they're basically the heifers that didn't breed. We like to be done with our heifers by mid-March, which it's a wish. We never are. But this year, I think the ones that are ultrasounded to calve later are the ones that are just going to go to sale.
And how long is your breeding season?
Normally, we leave the bull in for 60 days. This year, the bull was in an extra 3 weeks.
Is there anything else you two want to add on to the conversation of either the open heifers or the bred heifers?
I just think for people who are starting out, it's tough. I totally get it. It's tough. But maybe your best route, we went through it. We ended up with cows that we really didn't want. But we are where we are today. We made it. But if you can find somebody that has some cows that you like to get, like you like, might be worth spending that little extra money and buying a few bred cows from them. And I guess always remember when you're buying a bull, nobody likes to write that check, but it's not a purchase, it's an investment. It's an investment in your future. And when you think of what that bull is going to give you in 2 years, when you're calving out his first heifers, it's worth it. We don't like it, but nobody likes to write that check. But you also don't like to have to be the one that's at the sale barn picking up a call bull because we just found out today our heifer bull is no good. So just and believe in the new ways. There's so much new coming our way, and some of it people just stomp their foot and will not make that change. Don't be afraid of change. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but in the end, I think we'll always see that the little bit of change we've done has worked out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you purchase bulls, it is all about your future, and just think about it in a 10-year program. And then again, how long is your career going to last? So every 10 years, decades go by very fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one thing we didn't touch on, but I'm curious about, you're marketing your steers through Superior, and you're also marketing these heifers, which are proving to be very good mother cows for your clients. When you're selecting bulls, do you want to share kind of some of your strategy there to balance out those terminal and maternal traits? I mean, do you have separate groups that you breed specifically to raise more terminal calves? Do you have another strategy? Do you mind sharing how that works for you?
We do not have any terminal sires, and we've made it a point not to. And over the years and how we've evolved, that has helped a lot, greatly, to balance up the females that we have for sale. And not only that, I mean, it shows up in your steer calves as well. I mean, the most value that we can do is, of course, testing the females, and therefore you can track what gains you're making, what directions that you're going. So I think I'm on the right track there.
Yeah. The only thing we really do sort for, I guess, when we turn out, if you've got a cow that we will buy some bulls that are pretty heavy hitters, birth weight wise, and we'll take those cows that maybe only have a 60, 65 pound calf year after year. Those cows go with those heavier hit birth weight bulls. But as far as just buying a bull that has no maternal and all paternal, terminal, we shy away from that. And maybe someday we'll be able to do that, which would be nice, to bring in heavier steer calves. But we just find that staying a little moderate and evening out your cow herd, it seems to work.
That does the most for you the fastest.
All right. Well, Jon and Patty, thank you for joining me for this conversation today. It's always a pleasure to visit with you, and I appreciate your perspective and willingness to share what you guys have learned over the years.
Absolutely. And Shaye, if anybody has any questions, comes back to you, we're more than willing to. They can come and look or dig through our books. We'll send them our DNA tests, our genomic tests from Neogen. Just let them take a look.
All right. Well, folks, if you are listening to this podcast, be sure to check out the description for any resources mentioned throughout today's show. There will be everything in there that you should need to know. And remember that the best way to support this podcast, as well as any of your other favorite podcasts, is to leave a rating or review, and better yet, share it with a friend who would find this information valuable, because the fastest way podcasts grow are actually through word of mouth. But with that, happy ranching, folks.